This is the normal one. Go live. So let me just listen to this here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I hear you. I think we're
Very good,
audible.
very good.
I think we're audible.
Okay, great.
Let's see if someone in chat can confirm if they can hear us.
Yes, yes. And I will also make my phone silent.
Okay. Audio
Let's
works
see.
too. Yep.
Okay,
We're audible.
fantastic.
Hey, Prot.
Great.
What's up? How's it
So,
going?
hello there. All good, all good. Thank you. I was just out. I went for a brisk walk with the dogs. They always like it. They never say no to a walk at this hour, at least.
Oh, yeah. What? It is 10 p.m. right now, 10:25, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but we basically every night we will go on a nightly walk. Well, it's not a walk; it's a hike. But we will do it at this hour basically every night, and we enjoy it. It's cool, and it's basically the best time to go and enjoy the silence.
Oh, okay. And how have you been this past few weeks? How have the coaching sessions been?
All good, good. Some days I'm busy, some days I'm not busy. Basically, it's the same, like all the time. It's always like that. So
Oh, yeah.
there are ups and downs, but I always keep myself busy. Like I don't think I ever have an idle day. I don't think there is such a thing. Like I will invent work.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So in that sense, I'm always busy.
Yeah. Okay. So, um,
And you,
what
how
are,
have you been? Yeah.
oh, I've been good. I've been good as well. Last week I was not available because it was my daughter's birthday, so we were out. I'm not gonna be available tomorrow, so that's why we moved it to today. So I appreciate that we're
Hmm.
flexible enough to move it a day before.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's all good.
Yeah. For me, it's not a problem. Like if you tell me in advance, it's not a problem. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what I want to talk about today is I have a few topics here. Do you see this? Is it visible or you cannot
Uh,
see it?
I see it. It's a little bit pixelated on my end, but I think I will make sense of it. So I saw some expectations. I don't have a good way of taking notes. Sessions, file picker. Do you recommend the Mastering Emacs book? I think I can read everything, yes.
You can read it? Okay. Okay. So in this session, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
expect us to fix my workflow. I want to discuss, okay? Because I do
Hmm.
things in a certain way. You watch the video, you responded to the video. Just to give a little bit of context here, okay? For people that don't know what's going on, I recorded this video for Prot yesterday. If you're kind of lost, go and watch it. It's the one shown here. Prot
Hmm.
responded to this video. That should be under publications, right, Prot?
Yeah, coding blog, the second.
The second one, coding blog. Okay. This one. Okay. So that is the response to this video.
The one below. This is for today, so it's the second one.
Oh, okay. This is for the live stream today. This okay. What I need from Emacs. Okay. I did read it. Okay. But
Very well, very well.
I want to discuss things here in the live stream because I do things certain way and I just got used to doing things that way, and I'm finding it kind of difficult to get started with Emacs since I'm used to those. I don't want to have the exact same workflow, but something that makes my life a little bit easier. Um, what do you recommend, or what are your thoughts there? I also have questions about the way that I take notes, but we can talk about that later. What do you think about the
Hmm.
workflow, the sessions, and all that stuff? And what do you recommend?
It looks great. No. What you showed in the video, like in terms of what you use already with Neovim and Kitty, looks great. Like you are able to quickly switch between sessions or projects, whatever. Like contexts, you can quickly capture ephemeral thoughts. Yeah, it looks great. Like there is nothing more to add. Of course, I didn't see all the facets of it, what you showed there, but I imagine like everything else also is integrated with that. So everything else would follow consistently. So it looks fleshed out. It looks well developed, and I don't think there is anything obviously missing there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. What is your way of
And
navigating?
just to add this one thing, um, there is also no right or wrong when it comes to these sorts of things because they are always custom.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we are talking about Neovim plus Kitty, whether we are talking about Emacs, whether we are talking about Emacs and all the possible ways you can do things, there isn't really a question of is this right or is this wrong? Because it's there are so many ways you can do it. What matters is does that make sense to you? If it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense to you, then it's right. It's right for you. And the reason I'm saying this is because many times people will try to implement a tool that doesn't make sense to them. Like, let's say the getting things done methodology. Like, it's a good methodology if you think that way. But if you don't think that way, it makes no sense. You will never be able to apply it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's not that the methodology is wrong. It's like you don't match.
Mm-hmm. I have tried many different ways of taking notes in the past, okay? These are my old notes. Let me show them to you right now. This is an old session that I have, Obsidian. Here shows the name of the session,
Mm-hmm.
the name of the repo. So I used to take notes this way, right? Let me open this one, Kubernetes, right? So if I show you how big this file is, this one is like 15,000 lines, right? So
Okay.
when I was starting, I was like, okay, so I'm gonna create master files for each one of the topics that I want to touch on, and I'm gonna add all the information
Mm-hmm.
there. Okay, I thought it was a good idea,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but over time I realized
Mm-hmm.
that they get outdated quickly, and you don't remember. Okay, so is this still relevant? Is it not? Sometimes you forget to update the file. Like, okay, then I moved to a different way of taking notes. Like I capture everything here, and if there's something relevant
Mm-hmm.
on the daily note, um, I create or I move, clean this information up and move it to different files. But I don't have a way yet. I haven't found. I try to look at the Zettelkasten method. I didn't understand it, and I was like, I don't get it. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't have a method yet that works 100%. This works sometimes. If it gets too big, I get kind of lost. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
do you
Mm-hmm.
have a method for that, or how do you go around that notes, or you don't take notes?
Mm-hmm.
There's people that don't, right?
Ephemeral notes such as these ones, I never take.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, unless it's like write down this phone or something like that, right? But otherwise, if it's like, oh, this thing happened and that happened, like basically, I don't. For me, it's like they are in my head, and if there is something that I need to elaborate on, then I will write about it. But for me, I make a separation between fleeting thoughts, what I would call ephemeral notes here, like fleeting thoughts and knowledge.
So it would be
So if it's
the
fleeting thoughts,
fleeting would be like what
yeah,
I
sorry,
have on the screen right now, the daily notes, what I call the daily note,
correct.
right? Okay.
So daily notes, correct. So for me, daily notes are not really knowledge. For example, and what I mean by that, like 5 years from now, it will be irrelevant if this morning I water the plants or not. Let's say so. That is a factoid that happened this morning, but it doesn't empower my future self to do something useful with that information. Whereas if I say, for example, this is how you encrypt files using GPG, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Assuming the road there is detailed and to the point, even 5 years from now, that thing has value.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not 100% up to date, but basically from there, I can go somewhere with that. So for me, this type of note is the one I am interested in. And the others, I don't really care. And the reason I don't want to have them is because they add noise. Like
Mm-hmm.
always the question with with any kind of workflow, whether it's Zettelkasten or whatever you were doing with Obsidian, whatever that is called. Like, it doesn't really matter. What matters is retrievability. Like, okay, I have captured all that knowledge. Can I retrieve it? Can I surface what I am searching for? And if the answer is yes, then a secondary question is, does what I have discovered have some structure which makes sense? Or is it just like a collection of thoughts that I still need to assemble in some way? And how much work does that require? For example, I haven't seen what you showed me there with that large file, but if that large file was, well, everything related to Kubernetes,
Yep.
to me, that would still not be helpful because I would still have to kind of piece together a certain structure.
Yep.
Like it would still have to have some coherent message to deliver. So Kubernetes as a whole, for me, isn't really useful, because what would be more useful is like, well, how do I spin up, I don't know what they even use, like, a server or whatever they call it, a container, whatever they do. But basically, it would be some action within the world of Kubernetes. And I would be like, okay, how do I perform that action within that world? And for me, that is what I would be interested to be surfaced, rather than the whole world as a whole. Because the whole
whole
world as a
documentation.
whole,
Yep.
yeah, cannot fit in my head, basically. Like, I don't know what to do with that.
You have a point there. So, yeah, I've thought to myself, like, okay, how do I make this? Because I know that in the future I'm not gonna remember anything, and that's what taking notes, it's a secondary effect of taking notes. It makes you lazy, right? Because okay, I have a note, I'm not even going to try to remember. So I know that I will not remember. But when I'm writing the note, I have to think, okay, how am I going to help future me to make sense out of this information? Because I will not understand it. I will not understand my notes. So, oh, that's the tough. Do you create master files for your information then, like Kubernetes, or let's say Emacs, and you have your notes inside that file, or how do you do it?
Me personally, I don't do that. I will take notes, and generally, this goes to also answer your question of how do I help my future self. I will take notes that are action or topic specific. Like, for example, let's say Emacs, okay? How do I switch to a project in Emacs? Like, that's a very specific question. Like it's a Googleable question, right?
Yep.
And I will have a note which says, okay, this is how you do it. A project is this, by the way. And here are some interesting key bindings. And this is the relevant behavior, right? So that kind of answers the question. And that file will have a tag Emacs. So the master file, so called, is basically a query for all the files whose tag is Emacs.
Okay.
So there isn't a master file per se. There is a collection of files which together form this corpus of knowledge. And each of those files answers a specific question or is focused on a given task.
Okay. Okay. So you have them in questions then, right? Like, and where do you store those questions? I got lost a little bit because I lost power and I got scared, but it already came back. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good.
So in a master file, you have questions and all of them go into that file. Is that right?
No, so I don't think in terms of basically anything such as a master file. So what I think of is in terms of individual items of knowledge. For example, the other day, I was like, hey, how do I make my browser not change my microphone's volume? Right? Like, that's a real thing. I had it the other day. So basically, I had to do some research or whatever. Eventually, you have to paste something into the browser and you toggle a switch or whatever. So basically, I wrote exactly all the steps I followed. I'm like, okay, here was my problem. I would set it to, let's say, 100. By the time I would join the call, it was like 30%. I'm
Oh,
like,
I
what is
I
happening? So,
encountered that
okay,
issue, but it's a flag that you have to change in the browser, right?
yes. At least that's what I did. I don't know
Yeah,
if there are other ways.
yeah.
And anyway, I record the steps one by one, and then I go to the, paste this in the URL bar. Then it will show you this. It reads that. Here is the message it says. And then, okay, so basically that was my note. And the title of the note is how to change or how to prevent the browser from changing your microphone's volume. It was something like that.
Mm-hmm. And where do you put that thought? Do you put it on that day's note, or do you put it on a file that has like a mixture of notes, or where does it go?
So it's a standalone file in my case. It's a standalone file. The day and hour specific time I wrote it will be recorded, but that's like a detail that doesn't really matter. What matters is that it's a standalone file that I have created. The name of the file contains basically all the query terms, like, browser, microphone, volume. And it will also have some extra tags, such as Linux or whatever.
Okay.
And there will be all these files in a directory. And then when I need to search for something, I will either search through file names or through file contents, basically a GNU find or a GNU grep. And eventually I will find what I'm looking for. The reason I don't do it on a day basis is because the day as a data point is not inherent to the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It is tangential, but like knowing how to change I keep saying Microsoft, the microphone volume is not relevant whether it's Monday or Sunday or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like on Monday, it's still the same flag as it is on Sunday. So for me, the date then is not important. And if I tie this knowledge to a date, I now create an association that is not intuitive, where it's like I have to remember what day it was when I encountered that issue in order to remember the words I used to describe that issue.
Okay. And what if you update that? What if that changes? What if the method of changing the volume or whatever changes? What do you do? You update the same notes? Do you
Uh,
create a new
so
one?
uh, so I will update the same note, but usually what I will do is I will keep the old text as is, and I will say, okay, update the old text is below. This is what I have done many times. And the reason I keep the old text is because maybe it's still useful in some other context, or maybe it's relevant because, I don't know, on my laptop it's still used or whatever. So I will keep it around for longer.
Okay.
And maybe I'm also referencing it in another node. So I need to be able, like if I am following links, to be able to still find it.
So that you don't have broken links, right? Okay.
Yeah, for example, imagine I have a link that says, hey, the flag was ABC, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now in the future, the flag is XYZ. But in my link, I say, okay, go to ABC, right? So I still want ABC around so that the context makes sense. And then when I will follow the link, eventually I will see that it has been updated.
Mm, makes sense. Now, is there something on your notes that you can show? Because there is someone mentioned in chat there. Yeah, I understand, but it would be easier if I can see. Well, I understand that we tend to keep a lot of private stuff in our notes, but is there something you have
Yeah, it's
around?
full of private. I can show you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much I can show. Let me see.
Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna switch your
Maybe it's
screen
easier
yet.
if I create a note.
Okay, yep. Yep.
Maybe it's easier if I create a
And
new one.
this is using the note, right?
Yeah, but that's why I don't want to focus on the tool, because it's not really about the tool. It is the note, though. Yes, of course.
Okay.
So okay, so here's what I will do. I am now creating a node, like how to prevent the browser from changing the microphone volume. Okay. And this is about Linux. So I like most of my nodes to be in plain text. I don't actually like Orgol that much, but that's another discussion. I'm an iconoclast. So I will say, okay, like I had this problem. And then I will say what the problem is concretely, right? Blah, blah, blah. I searched online and found this website. And there will be like a URL, okay? I also checked the man page for tool, and then I will write, for example, tool 1, for example. That's basically the convention for man pages. Just let me do Emacs man. Like, actually, oh my goodness, it actually defaulted to the thing up. But for example, you see, like, this is how man pages are, right? So I will write something like that. Eventually, I found the flag which I access such and such, right? So how I access it. I pasted this in the URL bar, and then it will be this. And then I found the switch which describes itself as, and then this is the description, whatever, right? And basically, this is my node. This is kind of what I would do. It's like all the steps I followed, and I tell myself what exactly did I do. Now, look at this. So maybe I can make it a little bit larger. Can you see this?
Yep, I can see it. I can see it well.
So it's a long file name. So there are people who for aesthetic reasons, do not like long file names. But for me, it's always a matter of utility. I don't want it to be pretty. I want it to be accessible.
Yep.
So for me, every word here effectively is a search query. I can search for microphone. I can search for browser. I can search for prevent. I can search for underscore Linux. And basically, I have many ways to find this information. Now, let me now create another node, which will be about the pipewire configuration. Okay, and this is related to Linux. Now, this is more general, and I had this issue on Debian. Actually, I didn't have. I did not have anything actually. But okay, I had this issue. And then I remembered that I had to undo this. And then I will go and undo the thing with the microphone. Sorry, the microphone. Okay. So basically, I have already created a node here with a link to the other node.
Okay.
And then I will explain. This is the context of what I was doing. Okay. So now I have this information over here. Now, in the future, let's say I said I had to cancel that, right? So in the future, let's say that this is now no longer relevant. Okay, so I will come back here. So I have the pipewire configuration. And I will be searching again through this. And I will come here and I will do this. So here I will say update. The following was relevant until this moment, okay? And then here, this is the new normal. Whatever I have to say about it. And this is what I would do. So now, if I go now to this other file, right? So here, if I go to this other file, and I check the backlinks. So this other file has a link, right? So the other file links to this file.
Where do you see them? At the bottom?
You see the bottom of the screen here? So there is, it is including the file name here, and specifically the line, the context where this occurs.
Okay.
So I know now, looking at this, I don't know, was this updated? Was this not updated? So I will follow the backlink, okay? I will follow the link, and eventually I will figure out that it was updated. But I want to keep this because at the time it was relevant. So it's a useful context. I don't want to just delete this and keep the new normal.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
That's the idea.
Makes sense. Okay.
Of course, I could do this with Git, but it's not the point. It's not really about version control here. It's about making sure that everything is still related to each other.
Yeah, and about history as well, because sometimes you troubleshoot. You're gonna troubleshoot things that you did in the past already. So this is like, oh, I already tried this, so I'm not gonna try it again. Or you wonder, why did I stop doing it this way, and why do I do it this other way now? It has happened to me, you know.
Yes, exactly. Now, let me show you something interesting with these files, because you were asking me earlier about the master file. So, of course, let me go actually to my videos, because now it's not notes per se, it's video files, but the principle is the same, right? Like, basically, it's a bunch of files that are named a certain way. So let's say that I am interested in what you were telling me earlier, like the master file. So if I do now, for example, you see there is this Emacs keyword. So if I do Emacs, I already got everything that is specific to Emacs. There is nothing else here, right? And from here already, a master file sort of emerges as basically everything that relates to this. And from here, I can do things such as, well, I am only interested in 2026, right? And from here, I can be like, well, I'm only interested in TMR, and yeah, like that.
Okay. So this is where you have
So
all
I
your...
don't need to...
Yeah, go ahead.
These are my videos.
Your videos, okay.
Like,
okay.
Yeah. So, and these are the files, and they are named using this convention.
Okay.
But the interesting thing here is that there is like a master file implicitly, right? But I don't maintain it. It emerges organically by me adding stuff. And what really empowers me is the fact that I write files in a consistent way. Of course, this is the denote file naming scheme, but again, I must stress that it's not about denote. It doesn't matter if you use denote or not. What matters is consistency. Like if you do things the same way for years, then consistency creates predictability.
Yep.
And so for me, I can predict what I will find.
Pretty interesting. Okay. I have questions, but is there anything else you want to show around here?
This is like the absolute essential. So, of course, you can do other interesting things with this. For example, if I go to the testing of denote, so here
what can
I have
you do
a few
with
more
these
tests.
video files from here, Prot? Like you have them organized there, but what do you usually do with these video files there?
So, of course, if I need to change their permissions or copy them or delete them or whatever, I can do it. This is like a file manager. So the DRED file manager in Emacs, but typically they just sit there. I never touch them.
Okay.
Specifically the video files, I mean.
Okay, got it.
So let me show you like a little bit more here. So of course you will see like this is like of course a test project here, but I am just doing test stuff. So let's see, is there something that we could link to that is very specific? Let me see here. Do we have, let me see if I can do like this. How many do we have with this? Okay, there are a few like that, okay? So there are a few files whose title has the word this. Now, obviously this is not useful, but imagine this was an actual word like Kubernetes or whatever, right? Something we would actually care about. So what I would do is, let's imagine that I have now a new file. This is my new file. And okay, testing. And I am really interested in all files that include, and then I will do the note query file names, query link, sorry. Okay, so I say that I want to create a link to all files that include exactly what I'm typing here. Okay? Maybe I should have done this in org mode actually. Let me actually do it in org mode because it's prettier. So let me actually, can I do a file type? Of course, when I do a demo, I don't, like, normally I wouldn't default to this. Okay, so let's actually remove. So this is a link, right? But it's not really a link to any file. It's a link to a search query. And if you click on it, it will find everything that includes this in the file name, including not this, obviously, because it's still correct, right?
Yep.
So now this is evergreen because if I go, like, this is a file manager, an actual file manager. If I go and delete, for example, those files, so, oh, I also deleted the file that I wrote this. Okay, I made a mistake. But the point is that the link would have persisted.
Okay.
So let's see again. The link would have persisted. So let's do it again. Not this here. So the idea is that if I follow this, okay, so it brings me something. Let me delete this hello and those two. Okay. So let's kill this buffer. If I click on this, it will still work, right? Because it's a search term. Like it's not an actual master file. That's my point. There is no master file. You click on it and it's a query and it collects the files. And so you will see exactly what it has collected.
Okay.
That's the idea. And this requires basically no maintenance, whereas a master file would require constant maintenance.
Yep. That makes sense. Yep. That makes sense. Okay. But this is more advanced. Okay. But it seems that we already went through all this thinking of, okay, what is the way of taking notes that works for me? I haven't found that yet. And I think, this is not a bad example because I tried Zettelkasten and I was like, but I don't get it. But this seems useful. Like, I have the way that I told you, right? My method in Neovim, which is not perfect. And yeah, retrievability. That's a good point, because sometimes I'm like, okay, what was the name of the heading? What text did I use? How can I find the heading? So it's becomes quite difficult to find information.
Naturally. Yes, naturally. And that's why, at least for me, what I ended up discovering as a solution is to be a little bit robotic and verbose. So, for example, that thing with the microphone volume, I don't just say, microphone fix.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not
that's
searchable.
not useful. I
Yep.
will never find it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like use as many words as you can. Like it's a little bit like search engine optimization. You have to use all the words that people would use to search for the thing, to find you online, basically. So it's a little bit basically the same idea. And I'm like, okay, use as many words as possible, but try to be robotic. Try to, this is not literature. You just want to have as many keywords there as possible. And in plain terms, like don't try to be smart about it and don't try to assume context. Assume that basically your future self will know what this was about.
Yeah, you will not.
And that's why me, when I write the note, it's like, this is what I was trying. This is was the problem. This is what I did. This is what came up. This is how I followed up. Like basically explain as if I am talking to somebody who is a complete stranger.
Yep. Okay, makes sense. Now, you brought a point when you were demoing your stuff there, and you mentioned that your notes, well, most of your notes were text files. Is that correct?
I lost you there for a second. Please repeat. Most of my notes are what?
Text files. You don't use org too much for your notes?
And the reason for that is I use org a lot for other things, for writing manuals, books, the agenda, etc. But specifically for notes, I don't want to even have the temptation of, hey, make sure to format this with bold. This is a code block. Make sure to put the correct markup around it. Like, I don't want to be thinking about that. I'm like, you know what? I just want the content and I don't want any markup. Like, it makes no sense for me. Like, it's a distraction at this point because I won't be exporting that anywhere. I won't be doing something with that. Org is very useful when you think in terms of some utility beyond just the text. Whereas I just want the text at this point.
Okay. What if you need to capture a note that has some code in it, like a code block? What would you do in that case?
I will create a note in an org format, as I did here, as I just did here. So, for example, maybe I didn't demonstrate, but basically you can select the file type if you see my screen.
Yep, I see it.
And actually, you can register your own file type even. So I'm like, okay, this is org like with code, right? Whatever. And then I will just have my code block and it will be whatever the code is doing, right? So I will use org. It's not like I am dogmatically against it, but it's like by default, I will not rely on markup. So I will only rely on markup when that makes sense.
Okay. And let's say that you have because you do this all the time. You have coaching sessions, right? And you need to you need to take notes on someone, right? Okay, I did this with this person.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do this for the next call,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so if you see my screen, I have this Prot coaching session 3, right? So this is a link to this
Mm-hmm.
note
Mm-hmm.
called Prot,
Mm-hmm.
and I can kind of find the references. I only have one because these are new notes. This is a completely new repo. The old ones are gone. I'm starting fresh. So
That's good.
how do you do that? Like, how do you keep track of that specifically?
Yes. Maybe it's easier if I let me just check that
Okay.
I have. I think let me see where is the org directory.
Okay, I'm not gonna switch to your screen yet. You let me know.
No. You can switch. I'm checking.
Okay.
So the idea is, so let's actually do this. So I will use org capture, which maybe it's also relevant for our meeting in general. But I have different templates, and one of them is a coaching appointment. Okay. So let's say I'm meeting with Christian, right? And it's an Emacs deep dive. Okay. Usually I will use, okay, I specify the hour. Now let's say we are meeting in the future. So, okay, that's in the future. So let me go there. Okay, so this is my coach.org file where all my tasks will be. Of course, now it's in a temp directory. Now, here is how it will actually be. So let's imagine that I have another one like this. Okay, now I will just duplicate this. And let's say that this is for Prot. And I am meeting with Prot and I'm meeting with Prot tomorrow. Okay. So I have these two people. And the idea is here, I will have, for example, the link to the email that you sent me. So there will be a link to the email that you sent me, if there is an email. And below that, there will be the Jitsi link that I sent you for our meeting. And here, I will have any note. So when we are meeting, I will have on the side something like this in another frame. So we will be meeting, and I will have another frame which has this in focus. So if you say, hey, Prot, next time I want to talk about this, I will write, okay, next time I will make sure you will talk about this and we will also talk about that. Very well. So after we are done and I mark our task as done, I will go through the list of what you told me you want to cover next time. And depending on what it is, I will create tasks. For example, I will go and I will create a task now, which is Christian wants me to prepare something, whatever. right? And let's say it's Emacs related, and let's say that I know that we are meeting again on, let's say we are meeting on Tuesday. I will have it for Monday, for example. I will check my agenda, of course, and when I have free time, I will say, okay, this is my free time slot. And Christian wants something. And look at this. It also links back to the original task we had. So now I have this task, which will appear on my agenda. And I'm like, okay, but what is this about? I can follow and be like, oh, we had this meeting. And, there is the link to the email here. And we discussed this and that, right? So I can find the context of what we were discussing. And now I know that, okay, we have to do this. And by the way, what I have here will appear on the agenda. Maybe because we are on a Saturday, let's actually do this. So we had our meeting. Actually, let me move this to earlier. Let's say we were meeting earlier today. Okay. So we have our meeting earlier, and I'm like, okay, this created the future meeting, a future event, a future task, right? So it appears there. And basically, that's the idea. That's how I will do it.
And what is all this? Is this the node in action? Is this org? What is this mixture of things?
This is org, and specifically, this is the org agenda. What we are looking at here is the weekly agenda. Org agenda, I think, is a little bit of a misnomer because it's not just your timeline of events. What would be the agenda for the current week, as you see over here? It can be used for other things, such as to search through your tasks. And I want to actually demonstrate this, but maybe I can do it a bit later. But if you want, I can do it now. But the idea is that you use the org agenda to search through all your tasks. Basically, everything you have tagged a certain way, everything that has a to-do, everything that has a timestamp, which is a deadline or a scheduled date, that sort of thing. And basically, you can search through anything and find exactly what you want very quickly. So you don't go to the file and you search the file, heading by heading.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, this seems really useful, and this is one of the reasons why I want to try Emacs. This is the type of thing that I want to do in Emacs, actually. Try to organize my stuff, okay? Because I have a meeting with Rumen, and we're doing them weekly, right? I don't have them in my calendar because that would be like the Mac OS calendar application, and I just don't like it. And I don't have them anywhere. I just remember, oh, today's Friday. Tomorrow is Friday. We have the meeting with Rumen. And Rumen, at what time do we meet? At 5, 6. Okay. Then every 2 weeks, I have it with Ted. Ted, he's also having coaching sessions with you, right? And I'm like, okay, I just remember that Ted was last week, so he's not this week. He's next week. Okay, so Ted is next week. So, I'm just, and then there's another guy that we meet once a month. And I'm like, okay, Kashmir, when do we have the meeting with Kashmir? That is next week, or is it the week after? Or, so that's just using my memory. I don't have a system.
Yeah. Yes, of course. And maybe if it's like 3 people and
Oh yeah.
you have a good memory, that's fine, right? But generally, you will run into trouble. Like, basically, it's a matter of time until something goes wrong.
Yep, exactly.
Like, at least you could at least have it like on a piece of paper. At least that would be something. But having it just in your head, that you are asking for the day where something will go wrong.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, Saturday is the meeting with Prot. Okay. No, on Sunday is the meeting with Prot. But so it's, and then I have the stuff from work. Okay, what do I have to do on work today? I have to do this. So, so I just rely on my memory for a lot of things. And I would like to have something like this more organized. How difficult is it for you to keep this updated? Did you already create a habit out of this, or?
I would say it's easy. It's, of course, everything benefits from having like a structure in your life, so the equivalent of a habit. like not completely oscillating between paradigms. Now today I do it this way, tomorrow I do it in a completely different way. Basically, having some kind of predictability. But other than that, there is nothing really custom in what I showed you. Like, this is basically standard stuff. Of course, I am using my own templates. I have organized it my own way, but the core functionality is standard org. Like, I'm not inventing anything here or adding any kind of complexity. And basically, my specific workflow is relatively simple. Like, I don't do a lot of tags. I don't do archiving, refiling, lots of processing. I don't do getting things done. Basically, it's pretty simple. It's like I have a basic separation of tasks. So what you were saying about having things in memory, I think actually that's not a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. However, I like the tasks that are time sensitive, and this is the basic separation, the time sensitive tasks to have a clear definition on a timeline. And everything else that is not time sensitive, of course, it's in my head, maybe it's on a wish list, that doesn't really matter. But for me, what matters is that I open Emacs in the morning, I check my agenda, and I can get an idea of, okay, my next meeting is 5 hours from now. So in the meantime, I can do basically whatever is in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I will have like a 3 hour break. So again, I can do whatever I have in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I have these signs, and then based on those, I can organize my free time. So I don't want it to be too much of an elaborate method. I don't want to do work for work.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I've been taking notes for way too long. I used to take notes at the beginning in Google Keep. Did you ever try Google Keep? No?
Yeah,
Did you
I
hear about it?
remember Google Keep. Yeah. Yeah.
That was, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago, maybe a little bit over
Mm-hmm.
12 years. So I used to take notes there. Then I moved over to Google Drive Docs. Okay. So I used to take my notes there, you know.
Oh.
And
Ooh.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was
Mm-hmm.
painful. Then I ended up in Obsidian Markdown, right? And it was okay,
Mm-hmm.
kind of better. Then Neovim, same thing that I had in Obsidian, now in Neovim. So I have a lot of experience on ways of not taking notes, and it seems that you have a system already developed that worked. I have tried many different ways, none of them has worked. So I know this is not like a beginner um,
Mm-hmm.
thing that you recommend, but I think that's what I'm looking for, a way to organize my stuff. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A general point here is that there is no right tool, and there is no basically one method that I can give you, like, okay, use the node and it will fix your life. Like, there is this idea that people say, oh, here is the package that gives you the second brain. And basically, as soon as you hear that, it's nonsense. Like, it's not real. Like, it's not
Yeah,
a,
yeah.
it's not a real thing.
It's marketing.
What will give you the second brain is your first brain working in a way that is consistent, so that there is predictability. And now everything you make a record of will become a second brain, because now it's consistent and you can find stuff. So retrievability, right? So what really matters is to have simplicity, I think. When you are not sure what to do, you want the simple, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Or let me phrase it a little bit differently. Complexity is a matter of refinement, not of intelligence. It's a matter of refinement. Like, things become more complex as you refine your method,
Mm-hmm.
right? So somebody who knows a lot of what they are doing, they will have like all sorts of specificities. But if you have like a complex method out of the box, thinking that, oh, I am very smart, I can deal with complexity. No, you cannot, because you don't have the sophistication. It's not a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of how long have you been doing this consistently to reach the point of distilling it to this and that and the other pattern of interaction. So, in other words, keeping it simple, the better. And not thinking too much about, oh, how are all the possible ways that I can benefit from this? Like, think of it like, imagine you are on a standard Unix TTY, right? You don't have Neovim, you don't have Kitty, you don't have Emacs, you don't have any of those nice tools. All you have is grep, find, ls, this sort of thing. How do you find your stuff? Basically, once you frame it this way, you know what is the baseline of tools available to you, and now you start writing with that in mind.
Mhm.
So you will write things in a way that make it easier for you to find stuff. For example, to be concrete, like if I rely on a large org file, like this is what people do. For example, like I have one massive org file, a master file, right?
Yep.
For my tasks.org.
Mhm.
Me personally, I have that. Because my tasks.org always goes through org agenda, that's fine. I can rely on Emacs and I can rely on org. But if I have the equivalent of a tasks.org for my knowledge, that's a disaster waiting to happen. Because if I want to query that file using grep and ls and whatever, I will never find anything. I cannot rely on searching through headings. I cannot rely on understanding org links or the org IDs or whatever. Like, it becomes much more involved. I cannot rely on Emacs, for example, right? So that's why I wouldn't do massive org file for my knowledge. It would be smaller files. It's exactly that idea. It's like, okay, imagine you are on a TTY. Imagine you are not on your computer. What do you do?
Oh yeah. If I'm on plain Vim, I'm kind of lost there. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, oh, I was gonna ask you something, but I forgot. I had it. I lost it.
Mm-hmm. But let me continue concretely now. Beside tooling, so of course the tooling has to be simple.
Oh,
It has to work on a standard Unix.
so
But
you
sorry,
have
yeah.
to reach the limitations. Let's say that I start using something with the base tools, and I'm like, okay, I have reached the limitation. It's time for another tool, like the notes, right? That's the moment when you decide, okay, I have to try something else, because
Mm-hmm.
the basic, like the
Mm-hmm.
raw tools, the default tools, do not serve the purpose anymore, right?
Mm-hmm. So, for example, here, like what the node actually does, it doesn't add an extra tool. It simply adds a streamlining of existing tools. Like it basically creates file names. Fundamentally, the node is a file naming tool. So it creates file names, and those file names, I could be writing them by hand. I like on a standard TTY, I could still write the denote file name, but I just have the note to write the file name faster.
Mm-hmm.
Fundamentally, that's what it is. So really, there isn't like an extra tooling requirement. Whereas, for example, what you are seeing here on my screen, the org agenda, that's an extra tool. Like if I need to, like if you check what the org agenda is doing, like it has to open an org file, it has to parse it, it has to understand the properties drawers, it has to interpret the timestamps, like it has to do a ton of stuff, which of course it's very useful. I use it, but if you are on a generic computer, you don't have any of that functionality.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So you have to think in terms of that. Like, keep your knowledge as simple as possible in terms of the tooling. That's the one thing. And then the second thing is make it as clear as it can get, as context free or situationality free as it can get. For example, now we are meeting, and let's say you learned something, right? You want to write down everything that you are thinking. You don't want you to say, like, Prot told me about simple notes, and you leave it there, right? Because Prot told me about simple notes is useful right now because you have all the context in your head of what we have covered.
Yep.
But 6 months from now, 6 years from now, that statement is completely meaningless because the context has evaporated. It's not there.
Uh-huh.
Whereas you want to say, you know what? Today I talked with Prot. We discussed how we can approach this problem. What is the problem? Right? You explain what the problem is. then we will rely on standard Unix tools, blah, blah, blah. And you explain it that way. And so that thing will always be useful. And because it's verbose, it will also be easier for you to find things because now there are many ways you can search for it and eventually you will get them.
Makes sense. Okay.
And there is another advantage of this approach of being verbose. It actually adds sand to the gears, sand to the wheels. Like what a lot of programmers are talking about is I want it to be frictionless. I want it to happen quickly. Why do you want frictionless? If you live in a frictionless world, you cannot walk.
Like on ice,
What you
right?
want is friction.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. What you want is friction in your life. Why? Because it slows you down. When you slow things down, you actually think. You don't just capture mindlessly. You actually think what you want to capture. You have to put in the work to capture it. So because you have to put in the work so that it is, comprehensive, you won't be capturing a lot of useless stuff. You will eventually be picking the stuff that you actually care about.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And what are your thoughts on org as a file type, as a future-proof file type, like the org extension? What are your thoughts on that? Like, have you ever thought, okay, is org fully compatible? It is with your workflow, right? But is text, txt files a better answer, markdown, org? Do you have any thoughts there?
There is no problem in that regard. Like org, I think will be very reliable basically forever. The thing is, like, are we talking about .org as in the file itself, or are we talking about org as all the corpus of Lisp or all the corpus of functionality? Because for me, these are two different things. Like the files themselves, I am confident they will always be readable, basically, because it's plain text, right? So it's plain text, relatively lightweight markup. So there will never be a problem in that regard. What is a question mark always is, well, will I be using, for example, org agenda 10 years from now? Will I be using all the bells and whistles that org has 10 years from now? And for me, that's maybe no. I don't know. Right. So long term, maybe whatever I am doing that is specific to those tools is not useful, is not going to work elsewhere. It's not interoperable. Like, for example, concretely, like the way org prepares the agenda, of course, it reads org files, but it also reads them in a very specific way, right? So maybe another, let's say an app on your phone can read org files, but it doesn't necessarily also do the org agenda the way it is done here. Maybe it doesn't do the org agenda at all, but it can still read org files. You see what I'm saying? So the file itself is not really the problem. It's like all the functionality on top.
Okay.
And yeah, how much you depend on that and what kind of consideration are you making long term. But in terms of what you are writing to the file, yeah, I cannot see how that will ever be lost.
Okay, and your README files in GitHub, are those org files? You can upload org files, right? For the README?
Basically, all my packages have, maybe it's easier, I'm still sharing, right? So maybe it's easier if I go to one of my packages, for example, let's go to the latest one I published. So TMR, it doesn't matter what it is right now, it's for timer. So this is a readme.org. And of course, it's an org file with headings, subheadings, and all the usual stuff you would expect. Like this is like code markup. This is a link to another heading. But then there are other things which are useful for writing manuals, such as, for example, these. These are metadata. So here, when I am exporting to a manual, an info manual concretely, this will create a variables index. So actually, I can show you. So let's go to the manual. So this is the actual manual. Okay, this is what org created. I export from org to this. Okay, so this is the actual manual, and here I see all the headings, basically all of that. But then at the end, there is also an index of all the variables that I declared. Oh, but what happened? Why is it not working? Ooh, so of course there is a bug here now. So, oh my goodness, what happened? One second, let me go to another package of mine. Do we have like a variables index? Like, is it working or is it a general Prot? Okay, bad example. I will check what happened there. But basically, I have something like this. For example, okay, where is this mentioned? I click on this, it's mentioned in this chapter. You see? This is possible because I wrote the manual using org and using the facilities of org.
Hmm.
And for this sort of thing, org is excellent. It's really good.
Hmm. Okay. I see. I see. I see.
But
Okay.
in a sense, I don't mind depending on org for this specific thing because this is specific to Emacs now, right? So depending on org, in order to write a manual about an Emacs package, obviously has the Emacs dependency, so that's totally okay. But I wouldn't want to have that for my long-term knowledge. I don't know, 30 years from now. Will I be using org? I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Now, also, I mentioned in the video that I recorded the way that I navigate around projects with sessions. How do you personally do it? How do
Very
you,
good.
let's say that you are on this package right now, you use Magit, right?
I do use Magit as well, though your concept of sessions is independent of Magit, meaning that switching between sessions is not Magit's job,
Okay.
or finding files in a session.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Magit's job is to do Git operations in the current Git repository, which of course relates to sessions, but it's not Magit's job to deal with sessions. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a tool to pull and push from and to GitHub, right? Okay. So, and how do you switch to other projects?
Okay. Normally, I have a mode of mine. Let me disable this because now that's not important. I don't want to, bog you down with a lot of details. So you have project switch. Let's actually see it here. Project switch project. By default, this is bound to control X, P, and P.
Okay.
And control XP is the prefix for all the project commands. So project switch project. This is what you normally do. And it will give you access to all your projects. You can go through them one by one, or you can type, for example, like this. And of course, you pick the project you are interested in. And then it tells you, of course, you can configure this, but it tells you, okay, what do you want to do on this project? For example, I say I want to find the file. I will type F.
Hold on.
And it will now do a fuzzy find of all the files. Oh, yeah.
It's a
Did you
little
see that?
bit. It's a little bit delayed. So, oh yeah, it's a little bit delayed. Let's see.
Let's see.
I do see right now. Find file. Okay, so can you
Okay.
do it again? How you switch to the project and just stay there for a little while?
Yes, actually, let me pick a bigger project. So actually, wait. So here are all my projects. Do you see this?
Yep,
All the projects.
I see that. Yep.
So now I will type, like I typed a couple of characters.
Yep. Do.
Uh, okay, so of course it narrowed down the list, and I can pick one of my projects.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So enter,
Yep.
and then it says, okay, which command do you want to run in this project?
Okay.
This is the default behavior, right? So in this case, I will type F for find file. Of course, you can perform a grep, you can find the directory, and many, many other things. So I will find the file here. And this is a fuzzy search. It's exactly what you were asking in the video. Like, I don't want to use find file, I don't want a tree-based navigation. That's too cumbersome. Like, I just want to quickly, using search, find what I want. So here you see there are 244 files. And of course, I
Okay.
can just type what I want. For example, let's say I want to go like the one that is in focus now is the Emacs, my Emacs configuration. But let's say I want to go to something related to font config. Like I will type font, okay? And then I see that there is something related to Latin, right? And basically these are the two options.
Okay.
And yeah, and just open it. So where am I now in my project? The project is here, you see?
Yep.
And I am, 5 directories deep. I can do this again now directly. I will do it with Emacs just so we are on the same page. Project find file. So I don't have to switch a project in order to do this. I can just do this directly. So project find file. It's basically what I did earlier. Switch the project and then this.
Okay.
So project find file, it's the same interface, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I can do, I don't know, .org. And it's only one option. And then I open it. And I am here in this file that I was editing.
Okay. Okay, I see. So you switch to the project. Okay, you choose between a list of projects and you can find files in that project. Okay.
Yes. Another thing you can do, which is at least for me very useful, is similar to finding a file, finding a directory. Project find dir. I will do it now. Actually, MX, project find dir, okay? And it's the same idea, but only for folders, not files.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's useful still. For example, I was talking about font config. Like, let's go here, for example, right? So here are all the files, but here I may want to perform, an operation like these. Actually, these are very old, so probably I don't even need these, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of these, like I want to delete those,
Mm-hmm.
So it's very useful for me to be able to get to this point quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, actually delete them. Yeah. So just like that. So yeah. Now to your question about Magit. So you see where I am here. 1, 2. This is the project here. This is the project root.
Yep.
Now, if I bring up Magit, I will do it with Magit status here. It will, of course, go to the root. It will interpret it from the root. And here, Magit, of course, we don't need to discuss Magit in detail now. It's very powerful. But I think we should look at this more closely at some other point. But the point is that Magit understood that, well, it's the root of the project that I have to check, not just the font config directory, right? So it is showing me the changes that have happened. Basically, font config files have been deleted, as well as a few other things that I changed earlier, and I have to go and commit or decide what to do. So here I want to cancel these, basically resurrect the files. So I just resurrected the files. Basically, I undid that deletion.
Mm-hmm.
And here I can see what are the changes that I have made here, right? So, okay, this is looking good. And actually, I could commit this already. So yeah, actually, let me make a commit. So look at this. So there is a file called Prot simple that has changed. And there are 2 different Git hunks, Git diff hunks, as they are known, diff hunks, right? 2 different sets of changes. There is one here and one here, okay? So I will just commit this one, not the other one. I will just commit this one. And I will say, okay, so prot simple, clarify docstring of, and maybe, what is it? It's specifically this one. Okay, of this one. And right now I have created the commit. And I can see that this commit is here. It's telling me that this is on the master branch. And here it is telling me that origin master, so my remote, like the server, is 1 commit behind, right? So in other words, this is in my local changes, but it hasn't been pushed to the remote.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, I can go and I can push, for example. I can go and make more commits. If I want, I can undo this commit, like these sorts of things.
Okay.
And in this case, I do want to undo, actually. So I will do a soft reset. and I will do a soft reset on top of origin master. So basically the remote, like use the remote as the source of truth. So
Okay.
I undid this change and I will unstage it. So I am back to where I was before I did anything here.
Okay. So that was a question that I'm going to ask you as well. And I have it written down here. You see my screen right now?
Yes.
Can you read or it's not readable?
File picker versus file explorer.
Yep. Because I have a file picker, right? That I bring up like my Kitty file, but also, like you mentioned, sometimes I need to copy file. So I have this is my file explorer, we could say, that is the one that I use if I need to delete, create directories, copy files, stuff like that. So I see that you have both of those options there. One is open directory and the other one is open file in the project, right?
If we are thinking in terms of projects, projects give you the file explorer. Oh, sorry, file picker.
Okay.
So the file picker is basically the fuzzy find, right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. File picker, fuzzy find. Yep.
So the file picker is basically specific to projects. Of course, actually, it's not. Technically, you can have it elsewhere, but to keep things simple, basically, when you are thinking in terms of a file picker, you are thinking in terms of finding a file in a project.
Okay. And
that's how it is in Emacs by default.
Okay. And a project.
Simplifying now.
Okay. Has to be in version control. Is that what defines a project? Or you can have a folder that is not in Git and you still consider it a project.
So by default, it's version control. It's Git and many other version control systems, actually, not just Git. But you can have something such as, one second, you still see my screen here, right?
Yep, I see it.
So if I go here, you can define here a list of project roots. So you can say, for example, if it has a package JSON, if it has a make file, if it has a .project file, if any of these are in the root, like in a folder, basically that folder is the root of the project.
Okay.
Independent of version control. That's the idea here.
Oh, yeah, because just to give you an example, my work related stuff, I don't push it to GitHub, because I cannot, it's on their storage system. Okay, we have Minecraft Prot there. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Yeah.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's all 4 pixels.
Yeah, we have 8 pixel Prot there. So that one.
Oh, that's terrible.
I don't push it.
Let's see.
It's gonna fix itself. I don't push that one to GitHub. I just keep it on their cloud thing, which is OneDrive.
But do you have a Git? Do you have a local Git though, or no Git at all?
I don't have a local Git directory, but I can create a file in that is a .project file, for example, and Emacs will consider it a project. If I use this project VC extra root markers, right?
Exactly. That's the idea. And .project here is arbitrary. I wrote it that way. It doesn't have to be .project. It can be literally anything.
Okay.
It could be a readme.md or whatever, right? Or a copying file, or whatever would make sense to you.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, and if it doesn't have one of these VC extra root markers, anything that is a version control directory, anything associated to a Git or something will be a project by default as well.
Yes, or if we want to be more precise, is a candidate for a project, for being treated as a project. So yeah, you also switch to the okay. Maybe that's an improvement.
Yeah.
You see, I upgraded to 16-bit now.
Okay.
So technically, it's a candidate for a project, meaning that it will become a project if you register it as a project. And what I mean by this, sorry, let me cancel this. So there is a command here, project, remember, projects under. So, okay, you start now with Emacs. Emacs like you have a lot of Git repos in your file system, but Emacs doesn't know about them. Like it doesn't read your mind yet. So what you want to do is tell it, okay, you want to know about all my projects. Like here are all my projects, for example. I say. So if I hit enter here, Emacs will be like, okay, I will go through every repo there and add it to your list of projects.
Okay.
That's the thing. But let me go now. Let me go to temp here. And let's create like my secret software, right? Nobody knows about this. It's just between me and you.
Yeah.
So it's here, like for your eyes only kind of thing. So, okay, so we are here and we have like a README, whatever. Like this will do stuff. Okay, so we have our project already. And now, if I were to do the project switch project, this will not show up yet, my software, right? So it doesn't show up, it doesn't exist, you see?
Yep.
But if I were to invoke any kind of project-related command, so if I were to do something like project find file, now, of course, it will perform that. But in addition to performing this, let's now kill it. In addition to performing this, it has also stored it, you see, as one of my known projects now.
When you did the find files, it recognized it as a project?
Soon as you perform, exactly, as soon as you perform a project-related command, such as project find file, project find dir, and any other project command, like let's see. So if I do project, like there are all these commands, right? So any of those commands, if I call it from inside of a Git repo, it will register that Git repo as a project.
Okay. Okay, I see.
That's the idea.
But it needs to have a Git repo, right?
Or a Git repo or the root files as we discussed earlier.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. And why do you use projects, and have you navigated around that way all the time?
It's very convenient for projects. It's very convenient. Let me show you. So I am here in temp, right? It's very convenient to go, for example, to my dot files. Look where my dot files are. That's the first thing. But it's not just that it's convenient to just go from one directory to the other. That's not really that much of a boost, right? It's nice, but it's not really that great. What is nice is that now I can do, for example, something like only search for project files or for project buffers. Like, oh, I don't have them here. One second. Let me do it here. So I want to search for project buffers. Let me see it here. Switch to buffer. You see, project switch to buffer. So let me do this. So project switch to buffer now limits this to all the buffers that were related to this project I opened in the context of this project. So I won't see like a million other buffers.
Yep.
You see, like if I am working on Emacs all day, I will have like a zillion buffers. So of course, if I just go through the global buffer list, like if I go like through this, like it's 40 plus already, like that's too many.
Yep.
So in a real world scenario, granted now I cleaned everything up, right? But in a real world scenario, I basically never want to just switch to buffer. I want to switch to a project buffer. And that sort of thing. So switch to a project file, switch to a project buffer, switch to a project shell, right? So if I would need to perform commands, I want it to be specifically in this context, right? So then if I go to another project, I want another project shell. I don't want them to be mixed together.
Yep.
I think it's the same spirit of what you were showing with your session. Basically,
exactly. Yeah. Exactly the same thing that I do in Neovim and Kitty. But Kitty is like my main thing, and I open multiple Neovim instances. In this case, we have a single Emacs instance, and we have like different workspaces. We could think of them that way, right?
Now, what I'm showing you here is the absolute basics. Like this is like the defaults, but the spirit of Emacs is that, of course, the defaults are useful, you can use them, but really the spirit of Emacs is that you take what is there and you add your own stuff on top, and now you have something that is more elaborate and works better for your use case. For example, I have this Prot project tab. I think I have a look. Prot project in tab. So I like this idea of switching to projects now, but it's a little bit abstract because what you are seeing is always one project, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't remember which was the previous project I opened. I forgot, right? So Prot project in tab, the idea with that is, okay, I want to switch to a project, but I want it to open in another tab, you see?
Oh, okay. That was
Let
going to
me
be
do
my
this
next
again for a
question.
third
Yep.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it for a third one, like here. So I have now 3 tabs. The same principle, everything we have discussed applies, but now I have added an extra dimension to it, like this. And look at what I also did. It's a small little thing. So project in tab, if let's say I want to switch to a project that already exists in a tab, it won't open a new tab. It should go to the existing one. You see?
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So for me, that's like an extra element that is useful because, like, okay, maybe I need to have a visual representation of what am I working on, and to add to this an extra level. What you are seeing here, not just the tabs, but the whole thing, like with the buttons at the top, all that. This is called a frame in Emacs, and you can have many frames. So let's imagine that these 3 projects relate to my employer, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they relate to one specific bug that or one specific feature that we are working on. It's like three projects, but really it's one work, one piece of work, right? So I create a new frame, and then I can have another frame where I have 3 other projects related to my homework or whatever, like whatever I do here, right? So
Okay.
I have this extra element of UI on top. And for me, that's very convenient to have, at least as an option.
Oh, that's pretty good. And you can have different projects on each one of the tabs then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something that I do often is what I showed in the video as well. Okay. Let's say that I'm in my dot
Mm-hmm.
files and I'm relying a lot on open code these days. So I open a new tab on the terminal itself, which opens in the same directory, right? If you see this is
Mm-hmm.
github.files, dot files latest
Mm-hmm.
is the root, right? If I open a new tab, it opens there. I usually open code and I tell it to work on something, right? Then I just come back here and check, right? So that is something that you can do
Good.
in Emacs, of course, as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Okay. Do you use any AI in Emacs, Prot? Is open code available in Emacs? I guess it is, right?
I honestly is the first time I hear about open code. So I don't even know what this is. I understood it's AI, but beyond that, I have no idea what it is.
It's just
I live under a rock.
it's
Sorry.
just like a chat GPT that reads the project from the root, analyzes all the files, and
Okay,
you
like
tell it,
agent.
yeah, like an agent. You tell it, hey, go and
Uh,
look at this file and do this. And it just goes, reads, and changes the file and does magic. It's for
But
lazy
it's not
people.
like a Vim plugin,
No,
or
it's
is it like a Vim? No,
no,
okay,
it's
okay,
an
okay. I get it.
outside tool. Let me see.
Okay.
Open code.
So it's like what? Yeah, okay. It's like Claude. Okay, and friends. Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there
Mm-hmm.
there is this thing. Okay. So yeah, there must be something. I don't care about that too much, to be honest, but you can have tabs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is good. And if I open multiple tabs, they can open in the same project if I want it, right?
Correct. And if you are thinking in terms of frames, what I was telling you about, like here, me personally, I would do a frame. So actually, I did it earlier, but I didn't bring it to your attention. Look, so I deleted all those tabs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I will actually create one frame per project, me personally. Now, look at this. In this frame, I can still have tabs. So for example, when I did Magit, you can go back in the video and check, it opened in a separate tab. The reason I do that is because here, if I am working on this, for example, I will have like a specific kind of arrangement, right, of what I am doing. And I don't want to have that messed up when I'm working with Maggie.
Okay.
Same principle with the coding agent. Like if I had my coding agent, I would be like, okay, you know what? I want you to be in the context of this, but you can do it in another tab, go do it here. Like go do your work here. Imagine this is the open code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like do your work there and I will check on you and I will continue doing your work here.
Okay. Okay.
Basically, that's the idea. So it's one project, right? So it's encapsulated in a single frame. And then you can have as many tabs as you need, like your agent and Magit and your file explorer, whatever.
Okay. Do you use multiple frames then? And when do you use multiple frames? Like, what's the real life
By
scenario?
default, I use multiple frames by default to launch a project. So normally, actually, you can go back to the video and check. Before I demonstrated this thing with the project switch project, I disabled this. So normally I use bframe mode. It's one of my packages. And the idea with bframe is that whenever you open a project, actually I cannot demonstrate it now because I'm sharing a single frame.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But the idea is you will go and you will do the same thing of opening a project, and it will open in a new frame. And the new frame will be called after the project. So it will be called something like dot files or whatever.
And
so every project will exist in its own frame.
and do you keep
And
frames?
then I can rely on workspaces
okay.
and,
Okay. So you have like a frame in a workspace and you have like a browser for that frame in that workspace and a different browser in another workspace. Okay.
You can actually switch between frames from here, for example.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. And is there a reason
Of
why
course,
you
now I cannot demonstrate it again. But imagine I click on this and it actually raises the frame. It takes me there.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And is there a reason why you do this and not use a single frame?
Because I might need to work on separate projects in parallel. Like it happens many times where, for example, I am on my website and I want to make an announcement, like we are meeting with Christian, let's say. But I want to make this announcement now because you just sent me a message. But in the meantime, I was doing some work on my other project, let's say the dot files.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to just close the dot files or whatever, switch away from them or anyhow touch them.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's making sense to just have a new frame because the new frame won't touch anything in terms of layout in the existing work I'm doing. Also with tabs, how many am I going to have here? Like, okay, maybe 3, 4, it's okay, but I cannot have like 20 or 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like at some point, they become meaningless. Of course, you can use completion, right? You can still go through the tabs using selection, but then they are not really tabs anymore. Like they are just an abstraction. Whereas I want the visual reinforcement as well. But if I have 50 tabs, there is no visual reinforcement. It's just the abstraction.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. That clarifies things a lot, That helps a lot, actually. Those are the questions that I had. Sessions, we covered that as well. There was another one that I had in my list of topics about that mastering Emacs book. I'm pretty sure people have brought it up a lot of times for you, right?
I think it's a great resource. I have read the parts of it. I haven't read the whole thing myself. But yeah, I would say it's an excellent resource. It has been around for a long time. So anything that stands the test of time is good. Basically, like you can safely say that it has value.
Okay. Amazing.
And it's in depth. It's insightful. Of course, as always, as what I was telling you earlier, like there is no one thing that is true, right? There are many things that can be true, many things that can be valuable. So of course, it's one more option for you or for anybody out there. But if for whatever reason, maybe you cannot afford it or whatever, like there are the official resources, like there is the manual, right? So you can also rely on those. You don't have to use an external resource necessarily.
Okay. Okay, amazing. Um, is there anything that we could do today to kind of advance in my
Mm-hmm.
Emacs configuration?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time left.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have this session just to discuss chat, and clarify things and all that stuff. So is there something else that you want to
Sure, sure,
clarify
sure.
or add?
I think what we covered here already is good because it's mostly conceptual. And I think the concepts are more valuable than the implementation details. Like many times, this happens, for example, like we had this conversation in the first meeting where you asked me, well, how can I switch between two tabs quickly, flip between them?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in Emacs, like there are a million ways to do this, like already. But I answered you one thing specifically, and I told you like you can even write some code yourself. And for me, the intent wasn't to tell you all the options. For me, the intent was to bring to your attention the fact that when you think of something in Emacs, it's standard procedure to actually write code about it, because that's the whole point. So for me here, the intention was to bring to your awareness not the implementation details of there is this function and that function, rather the general idea of, well, when something doesn't exist, you can always implement it with like 3 lines of code or something
Mm-hmm.
by just wrapping it around existing commands. And that would be my point again and now, which is like one possible pitfall or mistake with Emacs or with any other such complicated tool is that we focus too much on the specific details. And then we lose sight of the bigger picture. And the bigger picture here is that whatever the basic tools are, you can always do things on top because it's programmable, it's extensible. And this extensibility isn't that difficult, actually. It's relatively easy. And once you get into the habit of doing that, basically you no longer think in terms of, well, is there a package for that? Like the answer is basically you can always do it. Like you will always be able to do it, even if there is no package or if there is a basic package or with the help of AI or whatever. But basically the answer is if you can formulate it as a clear thought, basically you can probably do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. All right. Makes sense.
And this also goes to things such as org capture, which was one of your topics, right? So, org capture is a powerful, extremely useful tool. But if you want something really basic, you don't have to use org capture. You can use like a function, which is like 3 lines of code, which does the following. It opens a file that you have hard coded, like you don't have any conditional logic. It goes to the bottom of the file and it adds a new line. And it adds the line basically you told. And that's your org capture, as it were, like bootleg org capture, like
Mm-hmm.
3 lines of code.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So my point is that you can do it. Like whether you should or whatever, that's another discussion.
Yep. Yep. I have to define uh how I want to approach things, because the way that I've been doing them right now hasn't been like the best. I use this a lot, what I mentioned to you, what I showed to you, like this daily note
Mm-hmm.
thing, but it's just like
Mm-hmm.
a scratch pad. It's just, okay, I have to
Mm-hmm.
talk about these things with Prot. This is, like you said, irrelevant for me now. I don't care about this information anymore. I could delete it. I just marked it as
Mm-hmm.
done. I don't care. But before the meeting, it was useful. But
Good.
I need to find a way, like I told you, to organize my stuff in Emacs the way that you do it, with the calendar, the org agenda,
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. You know?
Mm-hmm. 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 Yes, yes, yes. This is useful. The thing with the calendar org agenda and what I mentioned earlier, but I will say that again. So there are 2 levels of organization when it comes to task, at least for me. It's like tasks that are time sensitive and tasks that are not time sensitive. So, for example, I have a meeting with you. That is a time sensitive task. It has to happen on this day at that hour. It's not negotiable. Like, I have to show up, basically. But if it's something that it's, let's say, rewrite Emacs or whatever, right? Of course, I can do that in the morning. I can do it in the evening. I can do it at night. Well, I do it every day because that's what Emacs users actually do, you know?
Yeah, the whole day. Yep.
Exactly. But the point is that because it's not time sensitive, I don't want to have it in the same context as the time sensitive task. So, for example, in terms of calendar, like I don't want to be looking at my calendar, like, today and seeing tasks that are not relevant. Because what will happen is all the irrelevant tasks will crowd out the relevant ones.
Yep.
Like all the tasks that are not time sensitive will crowd out those that are time sensitive. I call those other tasks, by the way, aspirational tasks, where it's like, you know what? I feel really excited right now. I feel really productive. Tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning at 5 o'clock a.m., I will do, all the stuff I have to do. At 6, I will do that. At 7, I will do the other thing. At 8, I will be so excited. I will continue working, and I write all those aspirational tasks for my day ahead. None of that is actually time sensitive. It's just me imagining that I will do work. Tomorrow comes, I don't wake up at 5 a.m. I'm too tired. I will wake up at 8. And I'm like, oh no, I already missed my tasks. Now I'm too bored. I won't do anything.
Yeah.
I go look my agenda and it's still filled with all those aspirational tasks.
And you feel depressed
and
because you didn't do them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the question is, was I unproductive actually? Or was I unrealistic when I was setting up those expectations? Because I don't think I was actually unproductive. It's just that I was basically inconsiderate beforehand.
Yeah, and I used to add these ones, the one that you see here, as actual tasks, and then when I used to bring up my list of tasks here in Neovim, I would used to see them and they were crowding the whole stuff there, and I was like, man, like, they didn't so I don't add them as tasks now. I just as bullet points, and I just mark them like this. But I like the states that org has to do. Like there are some things that I need to buy, for example, right? And when I bring up a list of my tasks, I don't want to see the items that I have to buy or tasks that I will do someday. So yeah, you can.
Do you want me to show you, by the way, a little bit of this? Because it also relates to the org agenda views that I was telling you, kind of a search engine that I mentioned earlier. Okay, let me show you this. Let me show you this. It's a good example also. So let's actually go to here and let's go here. Of course, let's forget for now about org capture or whatever. Let's imagine you don't know anything. All you know is how to write org, right?
Yep.
So
in theory,
you have something. Exactly. Meet with Prot, for example. Right. And you have another to do, buy the book or whatever. Okay. So what you can do, for example, is have and shopping. How do we write shopping? Is it with double P or I always forget. I think in British English it's always double P and maybe American English. Anyway,
it's with double P.
So yeah. So meet with Protesilos. So I know a lot of people. So actually, let's have it like this. So I have now tasks that are related to different things, like buy the equipment, and this is again for shopping. Okay. So I have already written some tasks, and what I will now do is org agenda. Let's say I'm not here. I have killed this buffer. Okay. So org agenda. MX org agenda. Now, we said earlier that there is the timeline, right? But these are not timeline based. These are just tasks without any date associated with them.
Mm-hmm.
So what I will do is I will type the letter M here, match a tags query. Okay? Of course, there are many options here, but I will do this one. And it gives me options among those that I have written. So let's say I'm interested just in my shopping list. And here is my shopping list, like this. And from here, I can hit tab and see what is actually there. So imagine that this task was like, this is a book about, and then it's like 1, 2, 3, whatever. Okay, let's kill this buffer again. So if I do now tab, I get to see the context, you see?
Mm-hmm.
So that sort of thing. Let's now imagine that this is like, let's say, shopping for, I don't know, personal, right? And let's say this is shopping for work.
Okay. Yep.
Let's go. Let's go and check our shopping list. Okay. So of course now it's only 2, but let's imagine it was 20 or 100.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a filter. I don't want you to focus on the keys right now, but basically you can filter this, and I'm only interested in personal actually.
Oh, okay.
So
it's
like this, you will
subtags,
find,
right? Like, okay.
It's literally the tag I want plus personal. So it's shopping, which was the original one, plus personal. So what the match is shopping plus personal? Only this. The other one is shopping plus work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and basically you can find it like this.
Okay. Now, these are not time sensitive, but let's say that at work they tell you, Prot, we need this tomorrow, but 5 p.m. So you cannot forget about this. How would you go from what you have here?
So you go find the task and you do Emacs org deadline.
Inside that heading, right? Because this is a level 1 heading.
Inside that heading.
Okay.
Yes, the fact that it is level 1 is a detail. It doesn't really matter. It could be level 5. It would still be the same thing. For as long as you are on the heading or on the text below it, like screws and the hammer and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for as long as you are somewhere here, if I do org deadline, I get this date picker, and I can pick a date or I can type the date. But let's say it's tomorrow morning, right? That I have to do that. Okay. So there is my deadline. So, and actually, let's have these meetings also with, let's say, I will mark them as scheduled. So after that deadline, I have the meeting with Prot, and then later still, I have the meeting with Protosylabs. So now I will do the time-sensitive one, okay? So I will do that. And I see how my next day will look. Actually, we are already on the next day. So, but how my day will look, you see? So here I am now, and I see, okay, coming up, my day will look like this. Granted, sorry, just to say, we are 0, 0, and then it goes to 6. Normally, my days start from 6 a.m. So,
that's why. Okay.
I would never. Yeah, I didn't configure it to have like the early morning hours. But anyway. Like, okay, I have to do this, and then I have these other tasks coming up, right? But look at this. Look actually at this. Already it's starting to look busy. We wrote this earlier, right?
Yep.
Like, I'm like, you know what? Let me just make sense. Like, again, filter. Let me see, what are my meetings tomorrow? Okay. Now this is manageable. Like, I don't panic, right?
Okay.
I'm like, okay, this is manageable. I know these are my meetings. Okay, now these are my meetings. Let me see, okay, what does work want from me? Okay, this is what they want from me, right?
So you can filter based on tags on the calendar itself, right? Or agenda.
Yes, basically in every agenda view. So these are called agenda views. And then it's just different views into your org tasks.
Okay, and you can define a
whether those are
default.
time sensitive or not.
You can define the default
You
tag.
can define basically, sorry, default tag, you mean like a file? Like, I'm not sure what you
When
mean.
you bring
Like
up
a
the
generic
agenda,
tag?
you want to see only meetings by
Like
default.
a default view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. Of course you can do that. You can actually define a completely custom agenda. Let me show you here. For example, here I have a daily agenda and top priorities. So this is like my custom agenda where it has different sections. Now, of course, it's not filled up with sections, but basically here would appear the tasks that are important. Actually, let me do it. Let me do it just so you understand this point. So let's say that, for example, now I am adding a priority. So do the gutters. Okay, so I have to do the gutters, and maybe I can have another one. Do the floor.
So A is like the
Okay.
highest priority for you, right?
Yes, and this is arbitrary, right? Like I defined it like this. It's my custom agenda. Basically, I set the rules, whatever I want.
Okay.
So there is something like that. Now, let's imagine I also had to pay the bills. So, and of course, paying bills, you never do actually that. So I had to do it and I didn't do it, right? So it's in the past. So, so we have that. And then we have like a future meeting. So let's actually add this future meeting. It's okay here. It doesn't really matter. And let's have like another future meeting. Okay, and let's say this one is maybe here. Okay, like this. Okay, let's go into that custom agenda now. Oh, sorry. I want to go here, my custom agenda. So, important tasks without a date. For me, these are tasks that are not time sensitive in the strict sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could do them this morning, I could do them tomorrow, I can do them next week, but I shouldn't delay them too much, right? Like do the floor. Well, I won't do it in 3 years. Like it has to be done, in the near future,
Mm-hmm.
right? That sort of thing. Then, if I scheduled something and I didn't do it, because of course I always schedule things that are actually time sensitive, they are not aspirational tasks, remember?
Mm.
Why is it there? Why didn't I do it?
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be the first thing on the agenda, basically, before I even get to today's thing. Like, remember, like you had this, you didn't do it, like something is wrong,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right? So I have to basically see that. And then I will get to my daily agenda, plus all the filtering we said. And then I will be like, okay, what are the next 3 days like? Okay, I have no meetings. And then further into the future, okay, so basically I know how my immediate future looks like.
Okay. And this is basically org agenda's defaults, right? Like,
This is org agenda, but not defaults. This is like custom stuff. But imagine all these agenda views, literally all of them. Imagine you put them in a single buffer, like a view like this, and below it, the daily view.
okay.
Like basically all those views, you can put them in a single buffer, and for each of those, you can add your own parameters. For example,
Okay.
exactly this, you can have it there. You can have another below which shows you every task with priority A. Another below which shows you every task with plus 3 days from today deadline or whatever. Like basically, you have full control over all sorts of parameters. So basically, if you have like work to do and you want to access it quickly, you can do it this way.
Okay. Awesome. One last question before we drop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you set up recurring tasks? Let's say that I have a meeting with Rumen every
Mm-hmm.
Friday at X time. How do you do
Mm-hmm.
it? That's simple, I guess, right?
It is simple, but there is an important difference. So I want you to see this recurring repeated tasks. So there is a difference in how you repeat tasks, and it's explained here in more detail in the manual. But basically, the idea is this: like, for example, in the case of paying a rent, it's a monthly task, right? But if you haven't paid one rent, like, you still have to pay it, right? So, whereas if you haven't met with Rumen, let's say, you won't meet for 2 days in a row or whatever. Like, you just say, okay, we missed it, no big deal, right? So when you are repeating a task, you want to know this difference so that you can use the correct notation. So for example, here, this means I want you to repeat plus 1 month from now, but also to keep a record of basically every month, right? So when I mark it as done, I know that it's still there. But there is another one, which is like this sort of thing and this sort of thing. So I don't want to bother you with the technicalities, but basically, this is the sort of case where you need to read the
Oh,
manual. It will
okay.
help you.
Okay.
But it's like an extra character, basically, that will slightly change the meaning.
Okay.
This is usually, just to say this final thing, this is usually how you do it. And you do it this way when you care about the to do or the done state. So you have a task and you want to know, well, did I actually do this task? Yes or no?
Okay.
Okay. But there are so called events where things are happening, but you don't really need to know, like, did I do it or didn't I do it? For example, let's say every weekday, so Monday through Friday, at 5 p.m., the telenovela is playing, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, it's not a task. Maybe if I am available, I will watch it, but it's not a to do, right? So for those, you don't really want to have like a to do and a deadline and all that. Okay, so keep that in mind. So those will be separate from your tasks where tracking the state of the task matters. So to do and done kind of thing.
Okay. What if I have a weekly meeting with Roman and we
Mhm.
decide to change it a day after? Let's say that specific instance. The rest of them don't change, right? So uh, I guess you can change that
Yeah.
instance only without affecting the future ones.
I'm not sure if you can do it with this mechanism. I believe you will have to create a separate task. But
Okay.
I'm not sure, like, you can like a one-off exception and otherwise keep the repeater going.
Okay. So you keep the repeater going and then just add another task. If you want to simplify your life, just add another one for the correct date and move on, right? You can mark the
Yeah,
future one for that week as done,
as cancelled
as canceled.
or
Okay.
as cancelled.
And they don't
Yes,
cancel
that's
just
how
that
I would
one.
do it.
That okay.
That weeks, yes, because it's a repeater. Marking it as cancel will create a log entry, and it will tell you. Well, actually, I can show you, but basically, let's take this. Where is it? So, is it the? No, I wasn't here. I was in the demo. So they use this notation. Of course, we want to take only this part. So you say meeting with Rumen, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are meeting, let's say we are meeting, okay, we are meeting, oh, sorry, I forgot let's put it here like this. And then we have this. And I will do 1 week. So let's go and look at the agenda. So, okay, here. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go now here. Let's say that for this week it is canceled. Okay, had other stuff to do. I write an explanation of what happened. Look what happened now. I still see a to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you notice the date, it's not for tomorrow, which is, or rather today, which is the 2nd of August. It's for the week after, Sunday, the next Sunday, you see? So,
Okay.
so it internally, look, the 2 of August event was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
This is the explanation.
Okay.
The 9th of August event is still on the agenda, right? So that's what I was telling you. So if you have canceled it and now you say, okay, to do meet with Rumen. So for this specific week, we want to meet on a Monday or whatever, Tuesday, right? And that's how you would do it.
Okay, makes sense. That's useful. Okay. Now, what I have to think about is, okay, there are some weeks in which I meet with Rumen. Other weeks, the next week I meet with Rumen and Ted. I don't know how to do that with the recurrent meeting. Would I need to set up multiple recurrent meetings? I have to think about it.
So, like for example, let's say you meet with Rumen every week, and every other week
With
Ted also
Ted and
joins,
Rumen.
or is
Yep,
it a
exactly.
separate?
Yeah, no. Ted and Rumen every other week.
What you can do instead is you can reason about it as two tasks.
Okay.
So you have a meet with Rumen, just Rumen, which happens every 2 weeks, right? So it happens every 2 weeks. And then you have a meeting which is
Meet with Rumen and
with
Ted.
Rumen, exactly, which happens on the other weeks. So for example, here, right? So does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
Right?
Yeah, so I
So
won't
you could
have
approach it this
duplicate
way.
meetings 1 week, right? I'll just see one. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Because they never coincide. So they will go like 1 and 3, 2 and 4 kind of thing.
And what about the guy that I meet with once a month? He's going to coincide with Rumen and Ted. So
he will be on those as well.
He will be in one of those with Rumen and Ted, but that's just going to be one in the month.
Okay. Of course, you could still have it like, well, in that case, you only meet with Rumen and Ted once, and then there is a
with
good
Rumen,
point.
Ted, and the other guy.
Yeah. Well, you could still have it marked. Look, we are overthinking it because you could still have it, and even if they coincide, meet with those three, right? Even if they coincide, what happens is you will still see it on exactly the same hour. On the specific day. So, like realistically, so do we see it? Actually, where did I put them? Sorry. 2, is that correct? Yes, I did right. Where is it? Am I not? Oh, here they are. Yeah, of course. So they coincide, right? So technically, this is not 100% correct, but in practice, it's obvious what they are about. So yeah, I don't know how much of a problem this is.
It's just an extra line that is gonna show up there, and I don't complicate things. So I think that's that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even the thing like with the like you could still have it like plus 1 week. Like again, like in practice, it wouldn't be a problem for this very reason.
Okay, and you can set up an end date, right? I just want to meet with Rumens once a week for 2 months, right? You can do that
I believe so. Yes, I believe so. But actually, I haven't done it. So I believe you can do that, but I'm not sure now. Good point. Oh no, I think they don't have it, or maybe they do, but I don't know.
Okay, not too important for me at this point, but I'll look it up. It's fine. Okay, we've been here for longer, Prot.
Yes.
It's already time. So
yes.
Really appreciate it. It's 12:23 your time, man. It's time to go to bed.
Yeah. Exactly. Like even my agenda is off sync.
Oh yeah,
now, like
even your
it
dogs.
doesn't know what to show there.
Even your dogs already left.
But we will go. We will go for the hike again. Like after look, dogs are amazing, but one thing like they do very well is like they pick up cues. So as soon as I say the word which we say at the end, I won't say it now. They are like, okay, they start stretching and they're like, okay, great.
Oh, so
and we will go for a walk.
right now at this time you go out for a
Yeah,
walk?
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah, we will go, but just up the mountain and back, not a long distance.
Oh, okay. Prot, amazing. I think this session was really helpful. It helps me see how you do things so that I'm like, oh, so that's the way you do it. Because if I'm driving, I'm pretty limited. I don't have like a view of what we're doing, if that makes any sense, right? So, yep. Let's meet next week. We
Mhm,
can continue with all
mhm,
this.
mhm. Very well, very well. So yeah, take care then, and good luck with everything.
Okay. Thanks, Prot. Bye, chat.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Take care, Christian. Bye bye. Bye bye.